Hi there. It kind of made sense to me that whilst doing a presentation on my flipped classroom experience, I should encompass, or at least try and do, a vodcasting experience for you. So this is a vodcast. I'm showing you the skills that I've developed whilst introducing the flipped classroom to my Year 12 standard level physics class. So first of all, let's think about my goals. Well, if I like to think about the digital standards, they were very much teacher related. These are the things that I did. I designed and developed digital age learning experiences and assessment tasks by creating flipped classroom opportunities. I was modelling digital age work and learning, so I was recognising this is the way to go forward and trying to promote that general aspect. And some of the responsibilities, especially with the transparency of the mastery programme, I was promoting and modelling digital citizenship and responsibility. That's all well and good, but in reality, it wasn't my true motivation. Okay, my motivation was to increase the motivation of my class. I have a standard level physics class. More often than not, these are kids who are forced to do physics by their parents because they think it's a good idea, or for some reason they've picked it just because they think it will help them get into university later on. So it's quite often a class where there's lots of motivational issues, and I really wanted to turn it on its head. So I, took on board the ideas of Dan Pink, and I wanted to increase motivation in my classroom through consideration of greater autonomy, a mastery element of some sort, and a clear purpose. So the students really understood that there was a purpose to the way we were doing things, and it would really help them develop as learners. The tools I used a whole host of different tools. In the beginning, I used some Khan Academy stuff. I'm not proud of this, but I did. Okay, and as a learning curve, it was a good starting point for me. I then started using Camtasia Recorder. Camtasia Recorder was a device which allowed me to record screenshots at quite a high quality, and including my picture, so they could see my face as well. And after I recorded that, I used the Camtasia Studio package to do some additional editing just to polish it and then be able to publish it to the web. Publishing to YouTube and my YouTube channel, so YouTube had a vital role in this. Strangely enough, and I think it should be mentioned, the school portal allowed me to structure the course so it was very, very transparent about, as you can see here, the learning pathways. It's not just about a video. It could be an online route. It could be a set of notes. There's different pathways which I identified for my students. And also, because of the structure of the course, they also allowed me to present it in small packages which reflected additional work they could do, and also complementary mastery component and a practical element as well. So the portal was really, really vital in showing how the course was going to work. I used OneNote. OneNote again was another really, really vital tool for me. It meant that as well as reflecting those kind of chunks, this is kind of a chunk on work and energy, I was able to integrate knowledge checklists. So my students could watch the videos or engage in the learning in whatever route they take, but also recognise the important checklist of things which they need to take away from that experience. I thought that was really, really vital, and it meant that there was that first stage of note-taking and structure to really help them in their learning. I used the physics classroom and their Mind on Physics internet modules to help or to set up online question bank, and the students set to certain specific sub-levels which they completed, and when they completed these it was due and designed to help them run with a parallel learning program which they were taking place. Again, I come back to the portal, but in this case the fact that our portal can act as a wiki. So it was an interactive wiki, which meant all my students could record their own progression through the Mind on Physics modules, and it was great to have that transparency, and it meant that they really, really gauged their success on each other, and that was really, really empowering for them, also empowering for me. And this online component was great because it freed up a lot of time for me, but I also meant that I recognised they were getting immediate feedback on their understanding or lack of understanding, and that could come back into the classroom. One of the joys of the flipped classroom meant that I had more opportunities to have deeper learning opportunities. and one of the tools I used a lot was obviously FET and their interactive simulations, which allowed them to think about physics in completely different ways and gave me the chance to do that in more detail. So I decided to set this flipped classroom up, and this is how I kind of introduced it. I really got my head around, and this is a lot to do with the COETAIL course, I guess the pedagogical reasoning, why I'm doing this and what things I'm putting in place. I kind of refined and created a simplified explanation, which I gave to my students to explain that they're not doing something which no one else is doing in the world. They're part of a movement which has been identified to help teaching and learning be more effective. I shared the Sal Khan TED Talk with students, and actually I did it again with parents when I did a letter to the parents. I included a link to that, and also the back to school night. Hilariously, at the back to school night, I'm showing this video, and at the end one of the parents comes over to me and goes, "Oh yeah, I know Sal, I used to go drinking with him in Singapore." Clearly this is the wonderful international teaching world that I live in, where these things come up. Oh yeah, the guy who was just in the TED Talk, you're a friend of. That's how it goes. I also tried to get my department involved, so I presented to them so that they were aware of this different process which was taking place inside a classroom close to them. So, the student reaction. How did students react to the flipped classroom? Well, I would answer this using, I guess, the skills of pictionary. We'll describe it as that. Yes, those Pictionary fans there should have spotted that many students ran for the hills. The idea of something different taking place in their, I guess, in their teaching and learning domain, when they're doing their diploma course, which is so important for their university entrance, caused a lot of students to be very, very concerned, and actually a number of students to just decide not to do my course. That was the initial student reaction. Not everyone left, thankfully, and what I did is that I worked with this class, I carried on using my flipped classroom lessons. We've got some real outcomes from that. This is, I think, captured the course. They recognise it's not a stressful way of teaching and learning. There's an admit that it took a while to adjust to this new style of teaching, but they found it really, really works for them. And they've made their learning work best for themselves. Again, initially there was kind of concerns that they weren't covering the units of the syllabus, but after reviewing the unit they realised that there was the tasks in class were really, really helpful in covering everything that was needed. To me, the best outcome, and this came out of the survey, was 100% stated they enjoyed the experience of flipped classroom and wanted to continue using it next year, which I think is a great outcome. So what evidence of actual learning taking place? Again, coming from the students. The idea, it made me take out more time for physics and introduced learning user videos, which is very useful for a lot of other subjects, but also learning about these skills and transferring them to other situations. I think that's a great example of learning. The idea that they came to class feeling prepared, again, is just an awesome evidence of learning. Coming to the classroom and not just going in blind, being prepared. There's that statement that mastery helps them understand the course, it allows to practice skills and knowledge, which is great, and I think that mastery element is a really important jigsaw piece in my overall flipped classroom. It means that as well as flipping the classroom, it gives them autonomy in not just that taking in information, but that practicing side of things as well. So that's really, really, really cool. All of my standard level physics class are passing. They're passing over level 4 as a basic minimum. And that's great, and it's actually unheard of in all my time of teaching at NIST. How did I share this? Well, I've shared it at the school. I've said very much so that I'm someone who's using this flipped classroom, and I'm very welcome to have other people come to my classroom and see what's going on. With the COETAIL course, I've shared it with other COETAILers and also through my blog. So I've tried to share it with the world, and there's been a lot of feedback and conversations happening with people. Twitter, I've been tweeting my experiences and sharing that, and again getting to a wider network of people. I presented another version of the trials and tribulations of the flipped classroom at the Bangkok Teachers Network, and also at ASB Unplugged. So 2 further opportunities to share these experiences with the wider community and also get some feedback. And each time I've shared, I felt what was always invaluable was that I was made to look at what I've been doing in a slightly different way, which has been really, really good for me. Greatest learning experience? This is the greatest learning experience. My acceptance that actually making videos like this is really, really easy. It's not something I should have been scared of, and it's a really, really effective way. So that learning experience, I guess, was the fact that me realising that this is quite an easy thing to do. It's not that hard. It doesn't involve that much immersion in a new technology. It allows me to do what I need to do in exactly the manner that I want to do it. What changes would I make? Well, there's two crucial changes, and they've been, I guess, the first one is identified by the students. Do all my own videos from the beginning. One of the things that came through in the questionnaires was that the students, although initially when I first did it I was using videos made by other people, the students didn't feel they had that connection. They appreciated the teacher connection with me doing the videos, so they felt there was more teacher time. And also because I'm a teacher who's teaching a specific syllabus, the IB physics syllabus, it meant that the language I was using was suitable for them. There was no ambiguity or terms which they not need to be used to. Not necessarily the change, but I found one of the great successes was the online question banks, allowing my students to practice the work and get immediate feedback. But the Mind on Physics version doesn't suit every bit of work that I'm doing, especially with the syllabus which I'm following. So I kind of like to explore some other online question banks. I've recently tried to arrange for the school to get the access to the Quest Bank at the University of Texas, and I'm hoping that's going to give me a more complete question bank which will better support and run parallel with the course which I'm trying to run. Redefining. Has technology redefined this? Well, if I didn't use technology, my students would be in a very different situation. They'd be struggling with content due to no prior knowledge. I suppose if I wasn't doing any teaching and just running the lessons I was running at the moment, they'd be coming in blind, which would be terrible. I think they'd be unmotivated and resenting my course. The two things I really wanted to change. I would be completing piles of homework questions which I'd be forced to mark because I didn't have that mastery question and that online marking facility, which is a great time release for me. I think I'd be providing inadequate and delayed feedback. The immediate feedback of the online system is a huge benefit. And that wraps up my presentation. Thank you very much for listening, and now any questions?